you are, as PA professionals, you are living in what I call a post-clandestine world. And what I mean by that is, and I certainly don't mean to imply that nothing should be kept secret or that we should violate OPSEC, nothing like that at all. What I'm saying is, things will break faster than you can possibly imagine, especially today. And I've been doing this for a long time. So when I first started doing it, the means of the transmission of information were much more rudimentary. And so I'm not saying there were never leaks or there was never times when operations were found out before perhaps we wanted them to, but it was harder for that to happen. Now anybody with a cell phone can be a reporter. Anybody with a Twitter account can make news. It happens like that. And so the reason I talk about a post-clandestine world is because you as communicators need to understand that something you could be talking about in a classified setting, in a skiff, with your boss, with the operators, could become public knowledge faster than you might, certainly than you want, certainly, but probably more faster than you can appreciate. And both you and your boss need to understand that. And the reason I talk about this is because I usually, when I talk about the post-clandestine world, it's to your bosses, it's to commanders, because I want them to understand they need you at the table. You need to be there when they are thinking through their decisions, when they are writing their ops plans. The communication plan should not be something separate and distinct. It should be embedded in an operational plan. In fact, in some ways, communications are the heart of operations. It's not tangential anymore. But you can't shape that. You can't shape your boss's thinking. You certainly can't shape the operators in the way they think about it if you're not there in the room having the discussion with them in real time. I was with Admiral Mullen, as it was pointed out. I was a spokesman for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, who was Admiral Mullen, but I had actually been with him since 2000, so right up until his retirement in 2011. So for 11 years, I was his PAO at various jobs. And it was the formative 10 years of my life, professionally, there's no doubt about it. He instinctively understood this post-clandestine world, although he never called it that. And he would have me in on just about everything. The only things I was not welcome in the room for, if it was a special access program, obviously, that I wasn't cleared for, clearly I wasn't going to be in the room. And then when he was doing flag and general officer detailing and decisions about new jobs, obviously, that's a private thing that, you don't need anybody in there for. But other than that, I pretty much had the run of his schedule. I could walk into pretty much any meeting he was having. And I didn't need to ask. I didn't need to ask, do I have a seat in the room? It was assumed that I did. And sometimes if I got busy or I was down in the gym and didn't want to go, I'd get a call and, boss wants you better get up here. And it was great because it's not about the FaceTime. It was because I got to listen to him think out loud and ask questions and probe, why am I doing this? And how much money are we going to spend on this? And what advice am I going to give the Secretary of Defense or the President of the United States about why we're taking this action? Having listened to him work himself through made it so much easier for me to communicate once the decision was made and once it went public, and it often went public before we wanted it to. There were times when he would go from a meeting like that to a meeting at the White House, and I'm not exaggerating, before his car would get back to the Pentagon, news of that meeting would leak. No kidding. But because I was in the meeting before he went to the White House, I knew. I understood. And if I got asked by a reporter, I knew how far I could go. And I knew what I couldn't say, too. There were probably in 11 years, I can count on one hand the number of times that a reporter would ask me, well, what's Mullen think about this? Where I actually had to go to the Admiral and ask him, what do you think, sir? Because I was there. It's critical. And it's hard, I know it's hard, particularly when you're a junior officer, to have that kind of access. And maybe you won't, because you'll probably be, in many cases, working for a senior PAO who will have that access. I just want you to think about it and remember it. It's important for you to be in the room when these decisions are being made, because you are the one that's going to get the phone call or the email from a reporter. Hey, I just saw an image, or I just saw somebody on Twitter talking about, something exploding, and Somebody sent me a document. I got to talk about it with you. Those conversations happen every day to me, and it's really important that you have a sense of what's going on. And that takes time. It's gonna, you got to build the trust and confidence of the command, but it's really, really important that you do that.